Hi, everybody. Mary Brown here, aka Tarot Dactyl. Welcome to the Tarot Dactyl Experience channel. And today I'm going to do a quick walkthrough and micro review of the Affirmations of the Fairy Cats uh, deck and book set by Brenda June Saydak. And this is out from US Games. And so let's take a look at it. And I've already, this isn't an unboxing, I've already opened the box and taken a look at the book and some of the cards and stuff. I didn't, I kind of glimpsed through it. I didn't go into real deep detail yet. But anyways, just the basics here. The box, nice sturdy lift top box. It has an insert with a ribbon to help you pull the cards out, or you can, and it's not glued down, so you can take that out as well. If you want to keep like crystals or something in the box with your cards, you can just take that out and that'll be plenty of room. So great box. And here's the book it comes with, Affirmations of the Fairy Cats, a 140-page book, so it is quite substantial with about 2 or 3 pages per card of written stuff, so some of it is story, some of it is just, well, let's see what it says on the back of the box here, and they do a pretty good job describing it. So, deep in the forest lies a hidden magical world where limitless joys await you. This peaceful healing place is inhabited by adorable fairy cats who invite you to step out into the oasis of nature, where you will find delights for the senses and gentle life lessons to guide you. The fairy cat's cards in this 41 card deck are grouped into 4 sections: inspiration, contemplation, comfort, and celebration, with one bonus card, contentment. The 140-page illustrated guidebook presents each cat's affirmation, followed by a story and simple suggestions to incorporate the messages into your daily life. And if you're not familiar with the work of Brenda June Saydak, which I wasn't until I was sent this deck, and I love what she says. She's the author of the book and the artist of the cards. And just to give us an idea of kind of, where she's coming from, I thought I'd read that. And she says, from my earliest memories of childhood, I have been a prolific artist and an avid reader with an endless imagination. When not wandering the lands of Middle Earth or Narnia, I could be found traipsing around the woods on my own, as wild in my mind as the rabbits in the underbrush. I was blessed with a mother who inspired me to create with my hands, a father who passed on his love of nature to me, and an older brother who sparked my voracious appetite for reading. The world of fiction exposed me to many different philosophies and cultures at an early age, sparking a lifelong fascination with the exotic and sublime diversity of life. My love of nature keeps me grounded, and I enjoy creating art that is positive and life affirming. If I put a smile on your face, I feel my job is well done. I find pleasure in the small things in life: a good cup of tea, a walk in the woods, or the sound of rain falling on the roof. I hope when you view my work, it lifts your spirits and helps you feel the potential for joy that every day brings. To see more of my artwork, please visit me on Facebook at Bliss and Kittens and on Instagram at Bliss and Kittens. I wish you love, light, and happiness in all you do, Brenda Saydak. So that's really nice, and it gives us an idea of, what she hopes that we get from her work. Um, this deck, I'm not a big cat deck person, which may be pretty odd to say. A lot of people are, though. There's a lot of cat decks out there. This is the first cat deck that I have. And I really like it a lot. I didn't know that I would. I love animal decks. I have decks that have lots of animals in them. Um, and I have a horse tarot deck, the riderless tarot. I've got a tiger oracle where it's all tigers, the whole deck through. And trying to think, is there there anything else that's just like specific to one animal? I have a couple dog. Um, I have one dog tarot deck, and I think I have another dog deck too. But yeah, no cats. This is my first cats, except for the tiger deck. But anyways, this is the back design. It's really pretty. I like the border being all different colors like that. Um, Reversible. I don't think that. I mean, who knows? People. We read all different kinds of ways, right? Once we get the cards in our hand. So if you read reversals, yeah, it's gonna be different. You're gonna be able to tell probably, but it's not gonna stand out like it does on some back designs. And the sides of the cards are not gilded edges or anything. They're just regular, you know, uh, raw, however we want to describe it, normal. And I know a lot of people out there like to edge their decks. This would be a great one to edge if that's your thing. Um, I don't do that a lot. I have a couple decks I've edged, but that's about it. But yeah, maybe one to pick up on one of these colors in this border. I wouldn't trim it. These cards aren't over large or anything. The borders are really small. If you're one of those people that has a problem with white borders, you can see that there's really not much there. And if you were to trim it, you'd probably mess up that pretty border on the front. So it's just something to think about. All right, so let's take a look at these here fairy cats. See what's going on here. And one thing first, they talked about the cards being grouped into 4 different sections: inspiration cards, contemplation cards, comfort cards, celebration cards. But that's not something you really see if you just look through the deck. That it's all that same white border. So, and it doesn't denote those groupings on here like it does with suits, say, in the tarot deck or even in a playing card deck. So, those groupings are more in the book. You could adhere to that, I suppose, in some way. If you wanted to draw a card from like each group, that's something you could do. But again, you're not going to notice which group it belongs to just by looking at the design of the card. You may wind up memorizing that or something later. I don't think you have to overcomplicate this deck, really. I think it's I think it's great just the way it is. So let's look at the artwork some more. And this first is the inspiration cards, and we have beauty and flight. I like that with the rainbow. They're very adorable illustrations here. Fortitude kind of looks like a kind of a lion there. Growth. Metamorphosis. It's came out of the cocoon and is now a butterfly. That's one thing I noticed. These fairy cats like sort of morph into other creatures too. So it's got that whimsical quality to it that I just love, and bringing in the natural elements as well, like the moon and the forest and the trees and the plants that you see. Remember, this is taking place in a forest where these fairy cats live. That's a fairy cat that is an owl with cat features. They're fairy cats. They can become anything. Um, but it's just a lot of fun to look at these. Nurture and patterns. So you see kind of like the tiger striping on that fairy cat, and how it's licking its paw, and it's got its wings, and you've got these flowers here, and it's on a branch. So you've got all of these really kind of cool what features going on here. I don't know what's going on with my phone. But you have all these you have the natural features of the branches and the flower, and then the kind of cat behavior where it's licking its paws, and then it's wearing fairy wings. So it's like combining like all of those things together with a concept at the bottom, or basically those are the titles of the cards. And then in the book is an affirmation for each card and some things to consider. Spring. And one other thing that I thought was kind of cool about this deck is that it has a card for each of the 4 seasons. So that is kind of interesting. Timing could come into play when working with this deck as well. If you pull like the spring card on a question, that might be giving us a clue about when the thing that we're asking a question about might take place. And also just the meanings of the seasons. You know, what is the time of spring? It's a time of rebirth and renewal, and you know, just that freshness in the air. And stars. It's another card, but yeah, there's some great ideas in here. These cards could be very useful, you know, for adding to a tarot reading, or just doing a reading on your own, or just pulling a card every day for yourself or for your friends. Or I post a card of the day online practically every day from different oracle decks. But it's just, they're just adorable. And here, balance, you see it, the fairy cat butterfly creature balancing on that leaf of a flower on the edge there. Courage, you see the lion, unicorn, fairy cat, the unicorn fairy cat with a bumblebee. I mean, they're great. They're just fun. They're fun. And then, okay, here, this made me giggle. It's so funny. When does a death card coming up in any deck ever made you giggle? But it made me giggle because, one, I didn't expect it. You know, I looked at the the cover of the cover of the box, and the title, and I was thinking, you know, initially just seeing that and a couple cards, that like, okay, this might be a great deck for kids. And then I hit the death card, just like going through them, and I'm like, okay, what, why are the fairy cards talking about, you know, fairy cats talking about death? And then I realized, like, you know, this probably is a deck that's good for kids. You know, this would be a kid's, you know, teenage kid, you know, great first deck, oracle deck. But it's deeper. You know, it's deep enough for all of us, whether you're young or old, or young at heart, as they say. But let's take a look at what the book says about the death card, because that's always interesting. You know, in tarot cards, especially, the death card is always one that sort of sticks out to people, and they think, oh my goodness, you know, what does that mean? And people have written so much about it. So what does she say in the book about it? Um, she says, I let go of my fear of death and joyously live in the moment. That's the affirmation for the death card. I let go of my fear of death and joyously live in the moment. And she goes on to say death is inevitable, inescapable, and frightening for some of us to contemplate. This is one of the contemplation cards. Um, Yet, it's something that we all have to experience one day. Mhm. It's incredible that something that is such an intrinsic part of life is so mysterious and inscrutable. The simple truth is that no matter how much we try to see beyond the veil, as humans, that knowledge is simply not given to us. All living things came into being, fulfill their purpose in life, and in the end return to the ground. The discarded husk of every being is broken down and returned back into the ecosystem, which in turn promotes growth and supports the birth of future generations. The circle of life is beautiful and full of purpose. The creatures of the forest don't worry about dying someday. They live in the moment and carry out the tasks they need to survive. Even those who are allotted only a short time on this earth don't waste it in worry. Unfortunately, the same is not true for many of us humans. We allow fear and worry to eat away at our peace of mind, letting something that has not yet come to pass diminish our present. We can't fully enjoy anything when we are afraid of losing it. We don't fully live if we're worrying about dying. As she talks about letting go of fear, start to see yourself as an integral part of the cosmic dance of life. We are all part of the totality of existence, and no matter how small we may feel in the universe, we have a role to play in the grand scheme of things. You're just as much a part of that eternity as every other living being. Worrying about death won't prevent it from happening. Your job is to make the most of your every single moment on this earth. If you worry, you can't experience the present fully. No one knows why they've been put on here on earth, but enjoying and experiencing life to the utmost honors the Creator's mysterious purpose. Just as worrying about our own death dampens our enjoyment of our lives, worrying about losing another can prevent us from enjoying our relationships to their fullest. Enjoy your loved ones here and now. Remember, without death, life is simply not possible. Death of the old makes way for the birth of the new. Your place here on earth is only possible because those before you passed away, handing the torch to a new generation. And then finally, familiarizing yourself with the inevitable. In the past, humans would honor their ancestors in yearly rituals, allowing them to remain a part of family life. But in most modern societies, we do our utmost to remove any trace of death from our lives. No wonder we find it strange and frightening. If you feel fearful, find a natural object that is beautiful but no longer a part of the living world. A seashell, perhaps, or a pine cone, or even a skull of a small animal if you can find one. Place it in a corner of your home where you will glimpse it from time to time. Remind yourself that when you see it, that death is normal, inevitable, and a part of the grand scheme of life. Strive to live life to the fullest in the here and now. Okay, so as one of her contemplation cards, she definitely is contemplating it and she shares her thoughts on it. She has kind of a naturalistic acceptance, healthy viewpoint with what she says on death. And also, I like the advice of finding something like a pine cone or a seashell to kind of remind you. And it works in different ways. One thing that just brings to mind to me right now is last year, just somebody that I, you know, an old friend, a friend of me and my family's passed away, and he was a musician, and it was a big memorial service, and everybody was there, and it was so hard for me. Um, just the energy. I'm an empath, and it was just overwhelming. The feelings in that church. It was at a church, and I had to step outside for a minute, and I had to kind of deal with my own grief with the loss of my friend, and also just the energy of everybody else that we were all sad, that just overwhelming sadness. And I go outside, and I'm like, just kind of, how you are at those kind of things. You're you can't see straight because your eyes are all misty and wet. And I went outside and just happened to, there was like this old oak tree right next to the church, and I just stood there and put my hands on it to get grounded, and just that feeling of it. And I just happened to look down to the ground, and there was this piece of bark that had fallen off the tree. So it kind of fits with what she's saying. It was like it wasn't part of the living tree anymore. And I took that piece of bark and held it in my hand, and I went back into the memorial service and just held it through the whole thing. And I got through it because of that. So, yeah, what she's saying about, get a seashell or something, something like that, a pine cone or whatever, animal skull, whatever it is that's no longer living, to remind you that death is, a natural thing, and to help you to accept it. But also, sometimes those kind of natural elements, like it was with me with the piece of tree bark, can also help with the grieving process as well. So I just had to mention that because that just blew my mind. Okay, so moving along with our short walk through. It's not going to be short if I keep talking about every card, right? But they're so fascinating. That's a death card. Now we're at the depth card. And again, I just am really enjoying this artwork environment. The kitty cat licking the earth, the rainbow, and mindfulness. See the lotus flower. And silence. I'm playing around with my lighting today, trying different things to see how I can avoid the glare. What's great is these have a nice matte finish, so I'm not really getting the glare like I do on some of these cards that are really super laminated out there in some decks. Winter, it's a cat, fairy cat that's become an owl. Adaptability. I like the hair on this cat that has a fish tail, and these cats are interesting. It's so creative. It really is the way that she does affection. Oh, two owlish fairy cats, and autumn again, another one of those season cards. And then guess what? Those are like poinsettias. Nice bright red color really pops with that. Faith. And they do make you giggle. Look, it's licking the hearts. I like that. And it has the wings. And so, these different elements are so interesting. You got the whimsical element with the wings on the fairy aspect of it. And then you've got the natural elements with the foliage, the trees, the plants. It's just it's really cool. It's really creative. And the titles, the concepts for these cards are, I think, really good for oracle cards because it gives you a lot to work with. They can speak to different things. The scent card. So let's see what the book says about that one. The scent card. Let me see if I can find it. That's interesting because that could be a card that comes up in a reading, and you just kind of think like, well, wait a minute, I was asking about the job interview I just did. What does the scent, how does that answer my question? Right, so let's imagine that has happened. And I should look. It's got a table of contents. I could just go find it. The scent card is one of the comfort cards. Okay, so say if that comes up in a reading and somebody's asking about an interview that they just did and they're worried about it, you get one of these comfort cards. Say you get the scent card. Well, what advice are you being given in relationship to your question, right? And I would say, with the affirmation here, I surround myself with the sense of nature to evoke memory, promote healing, and enjoy peace of mind. So if you're worried about how'd you do in that job interview, it's saying maybe work with some scents, work with some natural scents, essential oils, that kind of thing, and kind of work on our peace of mind. Basically, don't worry about it. You need to take care of yourself instead and try and, have some peaceful, you know, enjoyment, basically. But what does she say about the scent? She talks about all the natural scents and what that is like. Why scent is the sense that powerfully evokes past memories. Our brain makes strong connections between smell and the things we experience in our lives. A single whiff can transport us back to time to relive a memory that may have been long forgotten. And then she talks about natural scents. Natural essential oils are a gentle way to enjoy natural scents and their health benefits. And she gives some recommendations too. If you like floral scents, try jasmine, rose, or lavender. If you like the smell of citrus, try bergamot. For those with more exotic taste, try patchouli or sandalwood. And for a homey, cozy feel, opt for cinnamon or cloves. Ooh, I love the smell of cinnamon and cloves in the home. It talks about, it goes on to say even more. Essential oils can be diffused in your home to help cleanse the air, promote relaxation, and positively affect your mood. If you're feeling tired or nauseous, peppermint can provide a quick pick me up or calm an upset tummy. Eucalyptus oil can clear a stuffy nose, while tea tree can help freshen the air within a musty room. Lavender is a time tested aid for insomnia, while any kind of citrus can energize you. And then she has this blossom bath ritual. Nothing is more relaxing than a hot perfumed bath, and homemade scented Epsom salts will take relaxation to another level. Epsom salts are widely available and help calm tension and ease tight muscles. For a relaxing soak, add about 5 drops of lavender essential oil and a small handful of dried lavender flowers to 1 cup of Epsom salts. Rub the flowers between your palms as you add them to crush them up a little and shake all ingredients together before stirring in an airtight container. Run yourself a nice hot bath. Add about a 1/4 cup of your salts mixture. If possible, dim the lights and light a candle as you soak in the hot scented water. Take joy in how lovely it feels and let the aroma waft away the troubles of the day. So, I mean, if it comes up on a question of something that somebody's worrying about, this is like telling them, like, you need to relax. And here's one way to do it. And I love that she gives a recipe in here. So this book is so chock full of cool stuff. And, it's just nice, nice, nice. I like this. So that we looked at the scent card. Let's go through the rest of these. Sleep, and just really nice illustrations. Sun, tenacity. You see the fairy cat is now a dragon. Oh my goodness. Abundance. And I like how abundance is illustrated with apples. We talk about abundance sometimes and people think, I think they think, oh, you mean like a big pile of cash. It's like, no, no, abundance in health, abundance in joy. There's so many different types of abundance in life. Blossom. We have a butterfly fairy cat there. Color. Now the fairy cats are peacocks. This is just cracking me up because it's like, what's next? Every time I turn a card over, what have they done now? Diversity. This cat sticking its tongue out at us. It's fun. Freedom. Oh, that's clever. Look, it's like a constellation of a cat. The line draw with the lines connecting the stars in the sky. Music and passion. Two passionate fairy cats. Summer, a mermaid fairy cat, and again another season card. It's like, good. I'm glad those are in there. Whimsy. This is like a lion fairy cat with jelly. They're fish. I don't know what those are. It's whimsical. Umbrellas, maybe floating in the air. It's just fun. Ooh, wild. I like that one. It reminds me of the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland with the colors. And then this is the bonus card, contentment. Okay. And why is that a bonus card? Let me just look. I don't remember. Like I read some of the book. I didn't read it all. Definitely. I like reading, I like discovering it as I use a deck, as I get used to it. So the contentment, is that the last one? Oh, here it is. Contentment and the affirmation, because there's an affirmation, don't forget, with each of these. I am perfectly happy with my life. My gratitude and patience manifest perfect contentment. And, a lot of this is about, let's see, in nature, when it's storming, there's nothing to do but wait it out. Activity stops, and all the creatures of the forest find a cozy spot to patiently wait watch the rain fall. Watching the raindrops from their sheltered space, they patiently wait, using their idle time to rest and simply be. They know nothing can rush the forces of nature, and they trust in the promise of clear skies to follow. Storms come and storms go, but life continues without fail. Contentment is what we experience when we practice patience and gratitude in our lives. And she gives a lot to think about. She has a lot of, you know, thoughts on this. So, she talks about how we tame our impatience, and she talks about having an attitude of gratitude. And it's a good book, and I feel like it's an honest book. There's this authenticity that comes through to me and just the little bit I've read in it. I haven't read all of it. I want to explore more by using the deck and learning more that way, about what she says in the book. It's more fun for me with guidebooks to look it up when the card comes up as I'm getting to know a deck. But look, cardstock is perfect. I think it's not too flimsy, it's not too thick. Sometimes when the cardstock is thicker and you riffle shuffle like I do, the cards will the layers of the card will kind of come apart there. But look, there you go. It's very easy. They're a great size. They're smaller than a lot of oracle decks out there. But it's getting to the point where I can't really say anymore that there's a standard oracle deck size. I don't think that there is at this point. I'm seeing oracle decks in all different kinds of sizes, and that's fine. We see that happening with tarot decks as well. But just to give you an example, this is like a Hay House. It's got to be Hay House deck. This is like the normal Hay House oracle deck size, and these you can see are a bit smaller than that. And maybe you can see it better here. This is what is this? A Sacred Traveler oracle cards that I'm comparing it to by Denise Lynn. But yeah, you can see how these cards are smaller. But it's a great size. They're not too small. They're not too big. They're just right. And great box. It's fine. It's gonna, provide a great place to store both the cards and the book. And trying to think, U.S. Games. I think they're out now. Fairly new deck. And yeah, so this has been the Affirmations of the Fairy Cats. And even if you're not into cat decks, because I'm not into cat decks, but I'm really loving these. So give them a shot, give them a try. Might make a great gift for the holiday season coming up. Anyways, so that's it for that. And be sure to tune in on Saturdays to our Psychic Talk Radio Network show, the Tarot Today show, every Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time. And the first Saturday of the month is There's a Rock for Show. There's a Rock for That show that's all about crystals. So check that out too. And don't forget to check out the Tarot Guild, www.thetarotguild.com. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.